Welcome to For the Dads podcast. This is episode number 2.
Dads. For the dads.
For the dads.
Dads 2 and 2 score.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Changed up the setup a little
Score.
bit so we could sit a little closer together.
I know.
Yeah,
I
I
dig
feel
the
like I
vibe
was
in here.
yelling across the room at you guys
It's
last
good.
time. Yeah.
Intimate.
It is. We got the walls are a little bit closer, so we just feel
Yeah.
cozier.
It does, yeah.
It's a good vibe.
It's a great vibe. How do you guys think the first episode went?
Yeah, I dug it. It was good.
fun.
It was good to dig in, especially kind of our connections are fresh, so
Yeah,
it was
they are.
good to
Yeah.
get the ball
I honestly
rolling.
didn't think we would come away with one constructive thought.
Yeah,
But we did. I think we had a couple. I think
Yeah.
everybody kind of said something that was
Yeah.
okay. And the response has been awesome. I think that's one of the cool
Yeah,
things because
got good
people really
feedback.
been listening to it. And so thank you all for listening to what we have to say. If you have a chance, if you're listening to this right now, what's the whole like, subscribe, rate
know.
us on
Yeah.
wherever you listen to podcasts because that's how we can
follow it.
get to more dads.
Reviews. That's how you.
Reviews.
Yep, that's the new thing now.
Okay,
Leave
yeah.
a review, please.
Yes, please leave a review. We need it. How we doing, dads? Just, I think it'd be cool to kind of open up conversation since the last time we talked. Being
Yeah,
a dad,
sure.
being a husband. What's a win? What's a loss? What are you struggling with? Where we at?
Yeah.
Struggling with sickness right now.
Oh, I know, man. Well, I think we are in that. You can tell my voice has dropped a few octaves, not just for the podcast, but got a lot of congestion going on here. It's been hitting the family pretty hard on my neck of the woods here. I know Nick too.
Yeah.
Nick
The
was gone for
household
like
was
2
under
weeks.
siege.
I was just out.
He was gone.
Just gone. That didn't exist for 2 weeks.
This is out of there.
Well,
Yeah.
you got 4 kids, so it's
Yeah.
like if one kid gets sick, and then it's a
It-
week until the other kid gets sick.
It was like
you've got his 6
Every
month.
2 days, the
Like,
next
when-
person got sick. Every 2 days, it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's bad.
Yeah, and what's awful about that is by the time it gets through the last person, the first person's sick again.
Yep.
And it's
Oh,
just-
yeah. That's literally what
It's
happened.
this
And
cycle of sickness.
I love my kids, but they're disgusting. They are.
They really
My
are.
son started kindergarten. He just brought home everything.
My wife says that about me. I feel like so.
Uh-oh.
Not necessarily about the kids.
My son saw this happened many occasions. We were walking today at a park, and he saw a random bottle, and I was like, "Hey, don't touch that! It's trash." And he goes, "No, it's not." I'm like, "That's a water bottle. I want to do the bottle flip thing. We're trying to make it." And I was like, "No, son. Like, we do not find random trash." And that's just the thing. I was like, "I don't know what's on that, man." And then we're
That
walking
could be urine.
through the parking lot, and he just had a straw in his hand. I was like, "Where did you get a straw?" And I was like, "Oh, you shouldn't have that."
Yeah, anytime my daughter's outside and I see her hand go towards her mouth, it's like I'm running as fast as I can
Yeah.
towards her.
I think twice before
how's
I start
Noah?
waving bottles around.
How's
I'm
Noah?
good. I'm pretty good. So yesterday, I kind of struggled yesterday. So Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings is kind of my time with Brooks. I try to wake up whenever he wakes up, obviously, and then Taylor try to give her some sleep because she gets up with him every morning and gets ready while trying to get out the door. So
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday is kind of like my thing with Brooks for a couple hours before she gets up and kind of let her sleep in because we get up so early. But I kind of felt defeated because after that 2-hour window of like, okay, we got dad time or whatever, and we're just broing out together, he wants his mom. And she had to work yesterday, so she worked half a day every so often on Saturdays, and she wasn't there. So I was like getting him breakfast, getting him yogurt, milk, did scrambled eggs.
Nice.
Didn't want any of the eggs, right? Didn't want any of the eggs. So I
course.
was like, okay, here we go. Like, here we go.
Did you try Airheads?
I did not.
That's
Yeah.
always a go-to for
Shoot.
my kids.
Well,
Just
he's
throw
got
'em in
2
their
teeth.
head.
He's 8 months, and that's probably frowned
I guess
upon.
put that one in your back pocket for
That's
a
why
little
that's
bit
frowned
later.
upon.
That's why my kids have
But-
cavities.
I just felt defeated though because like he has this need and I can't fulfill this. He needs his mom. So I was just kind of survival mode, just struggling a little bit. Nothing was working. He started crying a lot. Nothing made him happy. So, but it was a win though throughout the day. I mean, just being with him is a win in general, I think. But you know, sometimes I think as dads we just feel defeated, like I do, anyways. Of how I want to fill this need for him, and I don't know what he wants because he's in this stage where he's not able to talk and
Just
it's
tell me what you
yeah, it's
want.
like, tell me what you want. Like,
What
please.
do you want?
So
It's not that easy.
so yeah. So I think I struggled a little bit with that. But it was a great day overall, though. ended up tailgating, hung out with Michael yesterday. It was fun. We got to see his kids and stuff, so that was a huge win. And he got to be a father figure for my kid yesterday. Every time we get around, it's really cool. So
Nice.
get to love on him. So that was a huge win. But
And we like passed Brooks around too, because
yeah,
my wife was there. Our friend Taylor was
Yeah.
there. Just that's two moms. Just
yeah,
like,
it's
hey,
nice.
Just,
Yeah, we've got moms here. Why am I holding my kid? You know, it's like,
I need help.
yeah.
I need help. That's so good. Yeah, and it was cool for me yesterday too, because like I think one thing that I'm struggling with in this season is me and my son are just like butting heads about everything, and I'm always like, dude, why are me and Lev like butting heads? And Alyssa's like, because you're the same person.
Yeah, you are.
I'm like, yeah, just like,
He looks just like
why does he talk to me like that? It's like, well, I don't talk like that.
Heard
Why did he
yourself?
say that? Well, he kind of said that earlier, you know. And I'm like, gosh, but
Who's
yes,
this guy?
yeah. I'm like, man, but it's super sweet because you take the moments where it's not like that, and you really take those captive, and you're like, wow, this is a really good moment. And I know for us, me and him kind of butt heads in sports because I'm like trying to teach him how to catch, how to throw, how to do this, how to do that. I'm trying to kick, obviously. I'm trying to teach him how to kick. You know what I mean? And
I was waiting for that. I'm like,
yeah.
well, you can do all those things?
Yeah, no. It's more like kicking, and my wife teaches him how to catch and throw. But yesterday, in particular, we get to the game, and Noah's there, and they start throwing football together, and like Lev's locked into everything that Noah's saying, and Noah's like, "Man, you gotta like put your hands together." And so Lev's like, "Wow,
Wait, Noah as in this Noah?
this Noah,
Okay,
not my
not
daughter,
your
Noah."
daughter.
Yeah. I call her Nona. That's how I split them apart. Yeah, that's her nickname, but. Big Noah was like, hey, you want to put your hands together right here, and then with this below your waist, you want to put your hands like this.
Pinky to
not
pinky.
catch with your body.
Yeah, not catching your body. So Lev's like really trying to, and I'm sitting there going, I've tried to do that.
Came from the wrong
Did it
guy.
right away. Started catching with his hands.
Oh, yeah.
It came from the wrong guy. That's okay.
yeah.
We got to do it
Dude,
together.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
That's
We
like
gotta do
so
it together.
clutch though to have like another like friend that you can kind of dad with
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Because man, that is like such a, like a life hack. It's like your kids for whatever reason, they'll take advice from anybody else sometimes, and it doesn't even matter like what age they are. I feel like since because that kind of resonates with me.
Yeah.
I was kind of like that too when I was growing up. Like my dad was the same way. He would, like try to teach me all these
Yeah.
things, and like when it came from my uncle Gary, like it was just like different. And I totally locked onto that. It was
That's how it was with coaches. My dad would tell me something over and over and over, and I would listen to him, but sometimes I wouldn't. And then a coach says, I'm like, and my dad's probably
Coach
just
said
like,
to do
"What?"
this.
He's like, go get him. Go get him right now. Like,
That's so good. I mean, I think it reiterates kind of the whole reason why we're doing this. Like,
Yeah.
the foundation of it was we needed to be dads who did this stuff together, you know, and figured it out along the way. And I think for any like first time dads or dads just trying to figure it out, it's like ask a buddy for help, you know, phone a friend who wants to be a millionaire. Like, I need help. And I think, I think I'd ask you guys, like, have you ever been in a season with one of your kids? I'm sure Brooks talks back to you a lot.
yeah.
Where it's just kind of like button heads. Like, what have you seen in that season that's kind of helped you not like push through it, because, you know, it's always probably around, but just kind of like be intentional in those times and not get, I think this comes from actually, I was in, I do counseling. Counseling's awesome. And I was talking to my counselor about it, and he just said this one thing, and it was like brilliant, but I knew it was, I know that's a reality. And he was like, hey, Michael,
Whoa.
he's like,
This is a good counselor.
yeah, he's like, and we're on Zoom, so I
Leans
can
in.
feel him lean in.
Yeah,
you know
he
what I mean?
leans
He's
in.
like, you can't win an argument with a 5-year-old. And I was like, this guy's a genius. How much am I paying this guy? Anyways,
Did he say, or your wife? No, I'm so sorry. I gotta chill.
anyways,
My wife's asking if you
yes,
had.
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Um,
Edit that out.
she's gunning for you.
Actual
I'm
repercussions.
sweating now.
Anyways, and so like, what have you guys seen? And he said our roles as dads in those high intensity situations that our kids feel is our goals not to solve the solution or fix the things or correct in that moment, but to de-escalate emotion. Have you guys run into that? What are some things that you've kind of done in
Oh,
your
yeah.
fatherhood that kind of helped with that?
Yeah, my son's a lot of that, where he can escalate like pretty quickly to like a high emotion, or he feels overwhelmed, and it's like I'll be trying to like tell him like, hey, we don't do that because of this, and it's just like hands go up over his ears. He's like, no, I don't want to listen. Like he's kind of at his threshold.
Yeah.
And it is tough to not like escalate, because you're like, oh, like do I need to speak to him louder so he can actually hear me? And that's like you trying to win for you. And I think about this all the time where it's like you have to be there and you can't win an argument with a 5-year-old. Or, you know, my son's 6. And yeah, it's just like, think about it from his perspective, like you're saying, de-escalate. And so I think a lot of times a good solution is to, I probably got this from my wife being a pre-K teacher and getting her master's in early childhood, but of just like a distraction. So you have to just try to like move them from wherever they are. And like, if you're trying to problem solve and say, hey, I need you to pick up your toys or the mess you made and it caused a blow up, of like, cool, maybe that mess stays there for 10 or 15 minutes and you just try to like distract them with something else for a few minutes to get them to calm down. And once they're like level-minded and calm, you can be like, okay, hey, we're gonna go clean this up like together now.
That's
and like
cool.
you can kind of sandbag your half of the cleanup, but it makes them feel.
That's a dad 101 tip. That's right.
That's great.
Yeah, take that one. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, that's something I definitely struggle with. Like, I'm not the best at de-escalating the situation. Like, I want to teach in that moment, and like, I want them to know like who's in charge right then, and it is much smarter to like de-escalate the situation, get their emotions back to normal, and then do the teaching. Because I mean, you can't reason with them.
But it's tough. I mean, it's easy to say that. It might even be pretty easy to know it, but to put it in practice, I mean, especially on like depending on your mood of the day, it's so hard. I mean, I can't just say that like, of course I do that every single time because I know it. It's like, no, it's a struggle, especially depending on like the variables of the day. But it's at least good to try a little bit or to I don't know, put your best foot forward like we always do.
One thing I've found is like kids are pretty simple. They need 2 things. They need love and attention and food.
Yes.
So like if they're acting out and they're like fighting with you, they're either hungry or they just need some attention and love.
Good.
That's
so
cool.
like that's kind of what I try to do is like, are you hungry? No. Okay. You need love. You need some attention.
That's really good. Yeah, my wife does such a good job with that. Like she'll, anytime either one of our kids are kind of just, we call it flooded in our house. Like they're just flooded with emotion, or she'll kind of just grab them and just hold them, and they'll be like, whoa, 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 you know. But then in a moment they kind of like recenter, you know. And I'm like, man, I need to do that more, you know. Not just like square up with them, like, hey, what's up, you know.
I need to have Taylor do that with me.
Okay. Yeah, that's super good. That's super good. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's just something I'm trying to. Me and my counselor were talking, and he was like, invite him to do stuff, kind of what we were talking about last episode. He was like, invite him to do stuff with you. Like, if it's to have a better tone in the way he talks with people, say, instead of correcting him, say, you know what I'm going to try to do in the next week? I'm going to try to talk to people in a really kind way and listen to what they say. You want to help me do that? Hold me accountable to that?
Oh, I like that.
And I did that with my son, and like he said something, you know, he just responded to something, and I was like, hey, like, you know, we're trying to do this thing. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, it's like, because it's like a project we're working on together. Which kind of goes back to
that's sweet.
what we were talking about last time. So that's super cool. Okay, cool. I'd love to do that like every time, just to kind of see like where we're at, what we're dealing with, try to get through sickness, trying to get through the everyday. But I think it would be really fun to go back in time and tell our favorite story about our dad, our own dad. So I don't know who wants to start, and there's really no kind of barrier guide to this, but just favorite story about Pops.
I can go.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking at Nick. Nick's like, ready? He's like, I'm going.
There's a lot of them, but one that sticks out in my mind, I don't remember the exact year, but I know it was like between 2004 and 2007, let's say. So I was 10 to 13 years old, and my dad took me to a lot of Tennessee football games, which is something I still love doing to this day. And we love doing the ball walk, which is like where the players, you know, come down and you get to shake their hands and high five them and stuff. And
I can't wait. I just can't wait.
This just shows you, like, this is my dad. Like, this is who he is. He's like, he gets the bright idea that we're going to go into the ball walk.
Oh, like in it?
Yeah.
Like you're a ball.
Be a part of the ball walk.
Yep.
So
That's cool.
We we just literally jump in there with the players and just start walking.
Come on.
Like
That's a good dad.
that the stuff that
Heroic.
he did was just it'll blow your mind. But that was just one example. Like we literally just jumped in there with the players, and like people were high fiving us. Like they're like, yeah, they thought we were recruits. I guess I don't know. Like, it was so funny. But back then there wasn't like security.
Yeah.
Like if you tried to do that today, you'd get tackled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in
Especially a
2005,
10-year-old.
I love that.
nobody cared, and like my dad's like, we're gonna do this, and we almost walked into the stadium.
Oh,
with
wow.
the, like.
Wow.
It was funny.
He took it like to the line.
Oh, yeah.
Like he crossed the line. and then almost-
that's his personality. Like
That's so
every
cool.
time we went to a Tennessee game, he would buy and sell tickets right up until the kickoff, like just for fun. I'm like, Dad, I like the tickets we have. Let's just keep them. He's like, no, I want to see how how much money we can get for these. That's so cool.
That's awesome.
I really like these tickets though. And then like once we got in the stadium, we would just sit wherever we wanted to. Like most of the time, we would stand in the student section with the students, just because we could, and none of the
awesome.
students would tell us to leave. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good one.
Probably because I thought your dad would kill them.
He was always like, I shouldn't say that.
I could see your dad just hanging with them. Like,
yeah.
Weekend Chris.
Yeah. Weekend Chris. Come
That's great. That's
I'd love to hear
great.
that story from his angle, like what he was thinking through. For me, man, my dad was always so passionate, like to the point. He was just passionate. He's a real passionate guy. I think I have two stories. The first one was the first time at work he won the first PlayStation and brought it home.
Oh my
Dude.
God.
That was so sick. Because not only did he bring it home, but as soon as he walked through the door, put his briefcase down, plugged it in, and cut on. I don't even think it was Tiger Woods then. It was some PGA game. And we played golf on PlayStation 1, and I was like, I'm locked. Like, this is it. And literally, like, I remember growing up, we always played NCAA, and he would let me create, like, we would always create players and play both sides of the ball. You think Travis Hunter did it first? No. We did it first. No.
He's like, if you like go off, wait until you see all these other games.
Yeah. Seriously, Crash Bandicoot.
SSX tricky.
Huh?
Oh, that was good.
SSX tricky.
Dude, that was so
Whoa.
good.
That might be a
Snowboard
whole episode.
That's like
holy cow.
#1 game.
Dude,
in
I
my-
still listen to the soundtrack of
Oh, yeah.
SSX Tricky. Anyways, but we would play video games all together, and it's funny, like me and my son still do that. It was such a special time where we had like carved out. But my favorite was when I played high school football, very short-lived days. I was a kicker, and I was a junior in high school. And we were playing our crosstown rivals, and I missed the game-winning field goal.
Oh my God.
Yeah. 47 yards, right hash, in the rain. Just shanked it. Absolutely.
yards?
47.
I mean, that's
Okay,
pretty
I mean,
good.
that's
yeah,
respectable.
but it was
For high
not
school, that's a good
going to
distance.
That's
make
respectable.
it 20 yards. Like, it was, I just...
Nobody has to know that.
Yeah. Anyways, so the news was there. Everybody was there. Like, 'cause this is crosstown rivals. So it plays. Every Friday night after the game, we'd go to Applebee's. We just go to Applebee's. I don't know why. That's where the neighborhood hung out. So, it showed like the recap of the game comes on all the TVs, you know, and it's like George Wythe versus Fort Chisel. Michael Hawks misses a game-winning field goal, and this dude at the bar goes, "Holy cow, he wouldn't have made it from 15!" And my dad was sitting on the inside of the booth, pushed all of us out of the booth, and walked up and was like, "My son is sitting right over there," and almost punches the dude in Applebee's because he made fun of my missed kick, and I was like, "Dude, okay." I felt a lot better. I felt a lot better for that. And he was just passionate, bold dude, and just like and I was like, we're gonna get in a fight in Applebee's.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Dad's
Yeah.
got your back.
Who else?
It's like, I'm only allowed to say that about him.
yeah, he shaped him. Jeez, he's right over there.
Some decency.
Have some decency.
At least he wasn't like, yeah, son, you really blew this.
Yeah.
really blew it on that one there.
At least he's fighting for you, you know?
Yeah.
So that's great.
I'll say,
funny.
you know, I feel like I have a lot of like little vignettes and like stories with my dad. My dad was not as bold as either of your fathers. He was more kind of quiet, but always, I feel like, led by really great example. And one of the stories that comes to mind around that, because like I really do try to like channel my father on a lot of things, and like he like never raised his voice. Like I really can't remember him ever like yelling at me or being mad at me. It's
awesome.
Like it's just crazy to me that he was just always so calm. But there was a moment, and this is like stands out, where like I know my dad was angry at me, like he was disappointed, and he may have like, gave me the full name, Orion Paul Maderick, or who knows what. But it's marked in my memory.
Holy
And
cow.
where I lived, my neighborhood was in one spot, and then if you just went, you exit the neighborhood, hook a left. That was like my elementary school, and on the opposite side of that was another neighborhood, and that's where all my friends lived. So that elementary school, I mean, that was like our playground, like just like literally, like we'd just always be hanging out there doing stuff, like being in the field, goofing off. So I'd ride my bike to the elementary school, to my friend's house all the time. That's like how I got places when I was in that, 5th, 6th grade. And around that same time, I had a pretty cool like mountain bike. I kind of dug that my dad bought me. Well, I locked it up at the school in the bike racks, kind of in like the back of the school, more towards the other side of the neighborhood. And I left it there overnight. And he like explicitly said like, hey, like just don't leave your bike there overnight. Like we don't know what's going to happen to it. But being the age I was like, whatever, what's going to happen to it? Well, sure enough, left it there overnight, came to go get it. Bike was like smashed to pieces, tires pop, rims all bent up. And then I had to go like to my friend's house because, we don't have cell phones yet in this day and age, to make the phone call back home to call dad to be like, hey, like my bike got all smashed up. Like
The
I
call
can't.
of death.
Yeah, I can't ride back home. I don't even remember that phone call, but I imagine that must have been tough. But what I do remember is like my dad going back to that elementary school, and he was like an engineer his whole career, so he's like very smart and like hands-on kind of guy. Sees this thing, it's all to pieces, and like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's like a dumpster bike. Like that bike is gone. Well, like we undid the lock because he was still there holding on to like some random beat up frame. You know what I mean? And he puts it all like in the car and takes all these messed up pieces home. And just in my mind, I was like, that thing's worthless. Well, man, of course, my dad goes in there and he's like, I don't know if it was the next weekend or that weekend or what, but like he went out and must have bought some new tubes for it. He got a hammer. I remember seeing him like in the garage, like another visual memory of him just like knocking on it and trying to get that rim to be true again and spin. And he's looking at it and he's like, and like, yeah, I mean, the guy like fixed the bike, fixed up the rims, put it all back together again. And, he may have been like upset and, voiced those concerns, like rightfully so. It's totally fine. But he stayed like so cool throughout it, like afterwards, then like taking care of it and putting it back together, which is like, I don't know. Those are like ethos of mine that I didn't really have as a kid, but I do now, of like taking care of my things and trying to make something last longer. Especially like today's everything's Amazon.
Yeah.
So I don't know, really cool memory, cool thing to try to channel to bring into my
That's
kids.
awesome, man. Like, and how many times do our dad, like, or as dads, like, are we there to fix the mess?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I know. He like
that makes me
literally and
think of that.
figuratively
Like,
picked up the
that's
pieces.
what dads do, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
fix stuff and you just take care of it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that story.
Yeah, that's super cool. We accidentally ran over Lev's bike a couple
yeah, I
months
remember
ago,
that.
and I just threw it away and bought him another one.
So I came
That's
over.
what I would've done.
I came over and Lev's like, I like walked in the house and I saw Lev sitting on the couch and Lev's got like just like watery eyes.
Yeah.
I'm like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like, I said something about his bike or something. And he's like, got watery eyes, and he's like, just like pointed the finger. And like, I was like,
I didn't run over
Ooh.
it. I won't say who ran over it.
yeah. So he
But-
pointed at
Yeah.
the person who ran it over, and I was like, I felt awful for bringing it up, but
Yeah. Sore subject.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we
yeah.
bought him a new bike.
so my story, I've got hundreds. I really have hundreds of just funny stories, but then like just lessons, and we'll hear them at some point, I'm sure. But one that like really sticks out to me was I was in youth football, so it's like youth football. It's Pop Warner. It's like Little Gritters is what we called it. So it's like 4th through 6th grade, and I think I was in 5th grade. And my dad was the coach for our team, and we were undefeated. Going into the last game, yeah. Going into the
Without
last,
question.
no, we had some good guys. Like I don't know how my dad like did the draft. He probably like fixed it because we had like
stacked
the
it,
two
yeah.
best players in the league.
Definitely
Not
had
me,
some-
but
Yeah,
like,
that weren't
we had
you.
like the two best
Definitely
players in
had
the
some
league.
NIL.
Like
Yeah,
they were
going
like,
on.
you know how they had the weight that you couldn't carry the ball unless you were certain.
Yeah.
So
The
he
red
got
stripe.
like he probably like messed up with the scales. Like they were definitely 130. You had to be like 120 to run the ball or something. But anyways, I don't know. But I was in 5th grade and I was a quarterback, and it's our last game of the year, and we're beating this team, and so we're gonna take a knee because it's right towards the end of the game. So he calls a timeout, and we huddle up, and he's explaining to us the victory formation and like how to take a knee. And I'm like, wait, Dad, how about I fake knee it and then run? How about I fake take a
course
knee
he did.
and then run around the side, and then everybody else leads me to the end zone, and we score again. And
That
he's
is
just
so
like,
Noah.
Sick.
like I looked at him, and he looked like he wanted to kill me.
Oh man.
Because I'm competitive. We
Yeah.
want to win. I don't know any. I didn't understand the concept of taking a knee. Like I want to score as many points as possible.
Yeah.
I selfishly want to score myself.
Yeah.
So long story short, I took a knee. Like he ripped me, but like I took a knee. The game was over, and everybody's happy besides guess who?
You.
Me, right? So everybody's celebrating, jumping around, and we get like, the moms want to get picture and all this stuff at the end of the game. So we get to take a picture. Everybody's, muddy, whatever, and putting up number 1 fingers, and, everybody's got a smile on their face. And I'm standing there in the picture like this. And I have a frown on my face, and I have the number 1 up. And I learned a lot that day from my dad because we have that picture and we laugh about it now. But like, this is a picture, you ruined this picture, like you're gonna look at this the rest of your life, it's like whatever. So there's a lot that he got into me for, but also I think it was more so of he taught me to win with humility, and it's less about winning, but it's more about how you win. And I think like it's so cool to see those stories and those things happen, and I'm thinking about that's so true to our life. As dads, just going through life and our careers as husbands, it's like, okay, it's not necessarily like we're going to have wins and losses, but like, how do we handle the wins? How do we win with integrity, humility, and then how do we lose with the same thing and the same mindset?
Yeah.
Because if it were up to my dad, he probably wished that we lost that game just so he could teach me more of a lesson
Yeah.
than us winning, and that's just the kind of guy he is, and he's an awesome guy and a great coach, better dad. But like, that's just something that stuck with me forever, and I'll remember stuff like that forever. But
Yeah.
it's cool stuff.
Yeah, it's cool,
So,
man. Yeah, being coached by dad, that's good memories, Really, really.
Yeah, most of them are good.
Yeah, most of
them are good.
Most of them are good. Yeah. I think to kind of like land the plane here, like what would be something that you guys could go around and think about that says like something good that your dad did that you're trying to kind of carry on? I know you kind of answered that question a little bit.
I
Just
think like that
calm.
calmness,
Yeah.
that patience. I think he always had a lot of patience. I think my mother drove a lot of the household on how things were done, and my dad is always like very go with the flow. And I think I get some of that like chill vibes from him a bit. But there's often times where I'm kind of teetering. I'm like, I just need to like be calm and just like have the patience. And even when he just came to visit recently, hanging out with the grandkids and stuff. And like my son is like very like high energy, and he's like moving around a lot and can really test your patience, at least for me sometimes. And even like still like my dad's got it. Like he was just like very like calm. And he's like, oh yeah, it's fine. We can go do this. And then 5 minutes later, we'll have a change of plans. We'll go do something else. Then we'll do something else because he's just like moving so quick. And
That's
he was just
awesome.
like, yeah, it's fine. It's
That's
like,
so cool, man.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, that's so cool. What about you, Nick?
I'd say for me, it's
Breaking
general-
into the Vols walk. You gotta do that.
It's a tradition,
Yeah,
actually.
You
all-
have to do
Yeah,
that.
I mean, so it's a little side story. I took all 4 of my boys to one of the Tennessee games recently this year, and I was like, they got to see the Vol Walk because that's like ingrained into my brain. And so we start making our way down there, and it's like a sea of people. Like, you can't even see the the path. Like it's like how am I going to get them up there? And so I keep looking around. There's nowhere. I'm like, crap, like we're gonna miss it. And this guy notices that I'm like looking, and he's like, hey man, bring them over here. You can put them up in my truck bed, and they can see. I'm
no.
like, dude, you are the man. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
You were that
Was he like, I've got candy back?
No, it was just a good
I'd
bro.
be
Like,
He's a good bro,
oh,
man.
this guy.
oh no, he was a
No,
good
that's
bro. He's like, come up in the truck, and they can see. So we go up in the truck. I like throw them up in there, and I'm like, this still isn't what I want. Like, because we're still like, 15 feet away from the. I wanted them to like
Touch that hand.
touch the players, you
Yes,
know.
yeah.
Make it
And so
real.
I'm like, I'm like looking over this wall. I'm like, I could just drop them down there, and they could be right there. So I'm like, literally loading them off, like dropping them off a wall. I'm like doing anything I can
Yeah.
to get them a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And so the people below the wall are like, yeah, just throw them down here. We'll help them. And so like I put them down there. I jumped myself down there, and they were able to hit the players' hands. It
Oh,
was
man.
the
So
best
dope.
experience.
That's
I was
so
like,
cool.
got so lucky.
Yeah. Maybe they'll be on a podcast one day and they'll be like, dude, my dad threw me over a wall.
He's handing
those
me
hands.
strangers.
Literally,
Like,
the things I did for them. Okay. But that's the stuff that my dad did for me. You
Yeah.
know, like he. Anyway, for me, it's generosity. Like, my dad is the most generous man I've ever known, and it's not always just like financial. It's other things and other ways, and that's something that I want to embody too, and teach my children, because that's such a valuable thing in life. And yeah, that's
really good, man.
It's just solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, definitely need both generosity and some humble
Yeah.
kids, because those are two things that are hard.
Yeah.
Like I see it. My daughter being like 11 now is kind of much smarter than a 6-year-old, obviously, to where she's like, girl, you need to be a little bit more humble. It's like, I think the phrase I tell her a lot is like, it's better to be kind than to be right.
Ooh,
Because
I like that.
like
good.
you can't go around to a 6-year-old and just tell him he's wrong all day. You know what I mean? Like that's just not going to be good for him. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's just, you know what? It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
to
You're
be
such a
wrong.
good
It's fun.
dad. Like,
It's
you're such a
it
good
doesn't
dad.
mean it sticks. It's a daily
I know. I'm
struggle.
just
like-
like gonna watch this over and over.
like my dad is even like generous when maybe he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, to a
because like
fault.
Which is like the
outsiders,
true generous
like or
side.
me or other people would look at the situation and be like, you don't need to be being generous to that person,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
he is.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
You know,
Wow.
And
That's
it's like
true.
the ultimate example of generosity and just love.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's so good. I think we got to put our kids in those situations too, or like instead of like, because I've always felt that like they're being formed by something all the time. Like whether it's their teachers, whether it's the things they watch, the things they consume, they're being formed by. So it's like we have to put them in positions and environments where we can form them into what we hope they will carry on into the life that they have. And I think like with generosity, that was one thing we even did that this morning. Like this morning, right before we went to our church, was we did the Operation Christmas thing, and like Lev looking at these really awesome toys and like putting them in a box that are going to someone else. You know what I mean? He's like, man, this would be kind of cool to have on my Christmas. You know? He's
And then you're
"Wow,
like,
sweet. Yeah. But it's just cool that like giving away of like, I don't need, I want to give. Like this is something that, and two, we got to like do that together, and it was super sweet for him, just to feel that. And like, I don't want him to kind of like go through life and like figure out how to become generous or how to become humble. It's like, let him practice what that looks like. But I would say for me, man, my dad, just so passionate about the things that we were a part of, whether it was sports, even like now I can kind of, call my dad and he's just always like, what are you doing? What do you got your hands on? What are you like working with? And he's just kind of like a cheerleader. I remember always like a good loud cheerleader. I really remember like during the game, for some reason I could only hear his voice. I don't know if you guys ran into that, but like when you played sports, dude, like it was like, come on now, like I could just like hear him.
Kick it harder.
Kick it harder. Yeah. Good form. You boomed it.
There's that guy at Applebee's back of the stadium.
I don't like that guy. Yeah. But I just want to be passionate about what my kids are passionate about. And whether that's, things that I don't think are cool or things that I do think are cool, be passionate about those things. But Noah, what about you, man?
I think one thing that I really want to implement as a father, it's how my dad never said no to the good stuff. Like, he never told us no. Like, I can remember, and I don't want there to be a misconception that he always said yes. But I'm talking in context of, if I asked him to do something that was together, like, he would always say yes to it, right? And he'd never be like, oh, I'm too busy, or I got to do this. Now, if he had work or something that was a priority that needed to get done, obviously he would prioritize that. But he was never just like sitting around and be like, I don't want to do that. Or I don't feel like it. Like, even the days that I knew, like, you could just tell he might not just been having a good day or was tired, like, he would always come through. He would never say no to a catch, or never say no to going to the ball field, and like anything that I wanted to do, whether it was with him or to have fun or improve myself, like, he was always there to support it. I think going along with kind of the passion, but like, I want to be that for my kid or my kids. I want to be that, and I don't want to have to come up with something, or an excuse to not make a memory or to not spend time with them, and be, present in those moments. So
solid. Like, you never know what's going to stick with them. Too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It might seem like insignificant. Like, my son like loves like tossing frisbee out front right now, and it's like, it might only be like 10 minutes, but it's weird that when you look back on your memories, like, the little things that stick and you remember, like, you don't even know why, and it's just like. So you can muster up 15 minutes to go play.
I mean, I don't ever remember how long, but like, I know it was hundreds of times that we've played catch or, worked on stuff or done a project together. And it's like, I remember all those times. And I'm sure if he said no, I would remember that no. I think that's just how kids think, so it's impressive, right? It's impressive for dads to come through, right?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I think to kind of, again, land the plane, I think all of us dads, soon-to-be dads, granddads, I think we can all kind of take something away from how we were always heard, like, you coach how you're coached, in sports, but it's like you raise your kids how you were raised, but I think could be some people that are listening to this that maybe didn't have a good relationship with their dad, or maybe their dad wasn't even in the picture. But I think kind of what Noah talked about in the first episode was like, there's probably, though, a positive influence from a male figure in your life. What were some of the things that you could write down you could be like, man, I really want my kid to know that my door's always open, or I'm going to be present, or I'm going to say yes. And so I think that's the challenge for the dads in this episode, is just, what is that? What is that thing you want to instill? And hopefully that thing that you give to them, that they give away to their kids on down the road, just creating a wave of goodness and generosity,
maybe
and passion.
Maybe one day we can touch on stuff that maybe we didn't get from our dad, that we want to instill in our kids. Because I mean, I know we all have those. Like, there's stuff that I wish I would have learned sooner, and that's not a knock on my dad. Just saying.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
The fact that we all grew up and we're alive. It's like, good job, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, seriously. Hats off to you guys.
Props.
Yeah.
I was a wild one. So.
That's super cool, man. Man, this is so fun, guys. Yeah. It's the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do it again. Thank you.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Like 5 minutes.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next pod.
Bye.
Peace. Yeah.
See you.